I want to share with you a little bit of my experience. As some of you know, my brother Michael made his transition on Wednesday, and I would like to share a little bit of that experience. I was with him Monday, and I was with him Tuesday. And while I was with him Monday, learning about what his needs would be, I heard him say that I have no friends. So I made sure I got closer to him, and I made sure that I rested my hand on his shoulder or his arm. And when his hand came into range, I would hold it. Eventually, I got smart and I moved to the other side. And there I was. When he would bring his hand up, I would let him know my hand was there, and he would grab onto it and he would hold it. And while he was doing that, I I closed my eyes. And spiritualism is about the communication with spirit, to demonstrate the continuity of life. And sometimes I feel we may take that for granted, because clairvoyance plays a large role in that. And I closed my eyes and used that clairvoyant training that I had taken upon myself to learn. And I saw a large breast, and I saw him suckling it. Now, symbolically, the breast represents love. So I was watching him gather love to him. Now that was Monday. And when I was there Tuesday, I spent a brief amount of time with him and held his hand. And while I was holding his hand, I could feel the energy, the vitality, as Jesus referred to when the woman touched his robe. He felt his virtue leave him. I could feel that moving through my hands. And I knew that he was drawing that to him. He was drawing that vitality to him. And as I found the opportunity once more to exercise that clairvoyant training, I saw I saw his light body forming within a membrane. And I know that previously, when I shared a little bit about what Andrew Jackson Davis described on a person leaving their body, in this instance, I didn't see anything coming from the crown chakra, but I saw like an umbilical cord from the navel chakra. And if I recall correctly, that chakra is about relationships, relationships with ourselves, relationships with each other, relationships with the divine. And I saw that light body forming within that membrane. And of course I had to leave, and when I left, I told him that I would be back as soon as I could. He nodded, and I told him I had to take care of our mother, and he nodded, and I went and did that. And it was the next day that I got the call and tried to get there. Mind you, I was at the chapel getting ready to do some work, but needless to say, we didn't actually make it there, but we did come together. My brother, my mother, and we did come together. And she was thankful for his role in that. But I wanted to share with you that sensation, that image that I saw, the light body, and the role that we play in this. We talk about grief, but the sensation I experienced was more in line with compassion. And I've often talked about the power of emotions, and that power is there. And I understand what happens if during the grieving process, if we don't release that power, that energy that's there, it works upon us. It has no choice. It has to go somewhere. So I wanted to share that with you as a little of the value that spiritualism may provide. Does anyone have any comments or questions they would like to voice?
I'm just glad that you shared your experience with us, and it's a very touching experience you had.
Thank you. It's taken me a while to process it. I finally feel as though I can write about it. I can make sense of it. The power that that just welled up, looking for a place to go, and that's when we cry, when we go through that grieving experience. That's that power that builds within us being released, and it's like a controlled release.
Yeah, that's very powerful.
Oh, yes.
I was just going to say, I'm glad that you were able to be there with him, because who knows what that experience might have been for him had you not been there, and for you as well. But I don't know if he believes in any of this or not, but if I would have been happy to have someone there who could somehow navigate it a little bit.
He was angry.
Mhm.
He was very angry. I could sense that very, very definitely. Positive. I was positive that he felt anger
Mhm.
because of the way he said, "I have no friends."
Mhm.
And interestingly, that was I shared with you the dream like vision that I had experienced, and it was the next day that I went. So it did dovetail together. But yes, I sensed he was angry. I sensed that on Monday, but when I was there Tuesday, it was no longer there. He held my hand most of the time I was there, and I was only there for a little over an hour. That was all the time I could squeeze in there. But during that time, he held my hand, and I could feel that energy moving through my hand. I could feel it moving out the crown chakra as well. And so,
Well, I think that it's very easy to get fully submersed in the illusion of separateness here. And it was good that you could bring him some connection.
did anyone else have anything they would like to share?
Well, just my perception of listening to this, it sounds like he felt so alone, so completely and utterly alone. Just saying, I have no friends, and it sounds like your presence there, that you felt that feeling on Monday from him and not on Tuesday. You must have made such an impression on him and gave him hope. It's what it sounds like to me, that you really gave him a hope that he didn't have. And I would have to think that helped him in his transition. I would have to think that.
Thank you. It reminds us of the illusion of separateness. I believe Rachel mentioned that, and you as well. We are connected, and we do a disservice to ourselves when we sever those connections, particularly if we don't if we don't adopt an attitude of allowing those connections to come together once again.
Mhm.
So,
I was just going to add, Philip, I was with my grandmother, my 90-year-old grandmother, in the moments before she passed. And I had been sitting with her for a few hours, and but there was a moment when I had a very clear impression that she wanted to complete that process alone, and so I felt like it was time for me to leave. And shortly after that, she did make her passing, and I was just struck by the fact that you were able to be there Monday and Tuesday, but for his passing, you weren't. And that I don't know whether there's something about that when that comes time, that's a personal moment that we want to do on our own, because there are those two parallels with my grandmother and your brother, that they did pass alone, and it was a very clear indication to me that I needed to go, and she wanted to do that. She didn't want me to be there for that, for whatever reason, and I don't know how common that is, but I just wanted to share that.
thank you for sharing that.
I had a similar experience with my grandmother, Reverend Thomas. So yes, I think it is common, and even my mother passed alone, but I don't think they were alone. I mean, just without family present there, but I'm sure they were enveloped in family, and they didn't pass by themselves. But yes, I had the same situation with my grandmother, so I understand. Yeah.
Would anyone else like to share something?
Oh, I'm sorry for your loss, Reverend Phillip.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm sorry too to
Me
hear
too.
that.
Us too.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, thank you for allowing me to share that.